My family lied about my college acceptance so my sister could take my place. 10 years later, I finally found out. Hey, before we move on to the video, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Thanks. I don't really know how to start this. I've been sitting on this for weeks now, wondering if I should even say anything. But I can't carry it anymore. I need to get this off my chest, and maybe someone out there will read it and understand just how deep betrayal can go, especially when it comes from the people who are supposed to protect you. So here it is. 10 years ago, I thought I just wasn't good enough. I believed that for a whole decade, that I wasn't smart enough, talented enough, or driven enough to get into my dream school. I watched everything I'd worked for slip through my fingers, and I blamed myself. But the truth is, I was good enough. I got in, I was accepted, and my family lied to me. They faked a rejection letter, told me I didn't make the cut. Then they used my application, my personal essay, my credentials, everything, to get my younger sister into the exact same school just a year later. I only found out recently, completely by accident. And now I can't stop thinking about everything I lost. Every opportunity, every dream, the entire trajectory of my life. Stolen, rewritten, erased by the people I trusted most. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to where it all started, because I need you to see it the way I saw it. When I was 17, naive, and still believed my parents actually loved me the way they claimed. When I was a teenager, I had one clear goal. I wanted to go to Stanford. I know that sounds like every overachieving kid's cliché dream, but I wasn't chasing prestige. I was chasing purpose. I wanted to study computer engineering. I love building things. Coding gave me this sense of control that nothing else in my life did. It made sense. There were rules, inputs and outputs. You put in the time, the logic, the structure, and something real came out of it. Unlike real life, where sometimes no matter how hard you try, nothing goes the way it's supposed to. I had the grades. I wasn't a 4.0 across the board, but I had a 3.9 GPA, was the captain of the robotics club, did volunteer tutoring, and had letters of recommendation from two of the best teachers at my school. One of them even wrote that I was the most disciplined student he'd had in 5 years. I remember spending 3 weeks on my application essay. I wrote draft after draft, tearing up pages, agonizing over every word. My mom said she was proud of me. My dad grunted something vague about finally doing something with my life. That was about as warm as he got. I was used to it, though. I didn't grow up in an emotionally nurturing household. My parents weren't abusive, but they weren't loving either. They were calculated, practical. Everything was about appearances. Then there was my sister, Erin, 2 years younger than me, the golden child. She played violin, did gymnastics, got good grades, though not as high as mine, I'll just say that, and had this charm that seemed to disarm people instantly. She was the type to get away with things. Small things at first, skipping homework, blaming me when she broke the TV remote, talking back to teachers and getting excused because she was just so passionate. But as we got older, it became clear that my parents saw her as the one with real potential. Still, I didn't think much of it. I didn't resent her. At least, not yet. It was a cold, gray February day when the envelope came. I remember getting home from school, throwing my backpack on the floor, and seeing it on the kitchen counter, a thick white envelope with the Stanford seal on it. My heart stopped. I was so nervous I couldn't even pick it up right away. I asked my mom if she'd opened it, and she just nodded and said, "It's not good news." I stared at her. "What do you mean?" She handed me a single sheet of paper. Not the envelope, just the letter. It was already out. My dad was sitting at the table eating cereal, not even looking at me. I read the first line. "Dear applicant, we regret to inform you." My stomach dropped. I don't think I breathed for a full minute. I didn't cry in front of them. I just went to my room, closed the door, and sat on the bed in silence. I don't know how long I was there before Erin knocked on the door and asked if I was okay. I didn't answer. That night, I barely slept. My parents never brought it up again. "No, sorry. No, we're proud of how hard you tried." Just silence. Erin tried to cheer me up by making jokes, but I wasn't in the mood. I couldn't even look at the robotics trophy on my shelf without feeling sick. That letter broke something in me. I still applied to other schools. Ended up getting into a local state university. I went for a semester, dropped out halfway through. I told everyone it just wasn't for me, but the truth is I was spiraling. I felt like a failure, like I'd wasted everything and wasn't good enough to do anything else. My parents didn't care. My dad told me to get a job. So I did. Retail, warehouse work, then a night shift at a shipping company. And that's where I've been since. I never really recovered from that rejection. Not emotionally, not mentally. I still hear that line, "We regret to inform you," like a bruise that never fades. But it wasn't until a few weeks ago that I found out the real truth. And that's where this story really begins. When I think back to the day I got rejected, everything about it feels off now. But at the time, I was too shocked, too devastated to question it. My mom handed me the letter like it was a parking ticket. Just a folded sheet of paper already out of the envelope. No seal, no explanation. She said something like, "Don't take it personally. Lots of kids don't get in." It's Stanford. I read the letter probably 20 times in my room. The wording was cold, generic. It didn't even mention my name, just "Dear Applicant." I remember thinking that was strange, but I figured maybe that's just how they write rejections. I clutched that sheet like it was a death certificate. I didn't eat dinner that night. My dad shouted up the stairs that I was being dramatic and that I should man up and deal with it. That was his idea of parenting. My mom didn't say anything else about it. She didn't hug me, didn't say she was proud of how hard I worked. Just silence. Erin tried to act sweet. She offered to watch a movie with me the next night, made popcorn, told me, "You'll find something better." At the time, I appreciated it. Now, looking back, I wonder how much she knew even then. After that day, something shifted in me. All the drive I'd had, the ambition, the work ethic, the belief that effort mattered, just kind of collapsed. I kept going through the motions because I didn't know what else to do. I finished senior year barely. My grades slipped. I didn't care. I enrolled in the local state university, not because I wanted to, but because my parents said I needed to do something. I didn't have the mental bandwidth to argue. I hated every minute of it. I went to classes, but couldn't focus. I felt like an imposter, like I didn't belong anywhere anymore. Every day on campus was a reminder that I'd failed, that I had my one shot, and it slipped through my fingers. After one semester, I dropped out. I didn't even officially withdraw. I just stopped showing up. My dad blew up, calling me lazy and ungrateful. My mom said she was disappointed, but not surprised. Erin looked at me with pity and told me I should take a break and figure out who I am. That's when the narrative changed. Suddenly, I was the one who had given up. I was the disappointment, the dropout, the underachiever. They never mentioned Stanford again. It was like it had never happened. I got a job unloading trucks at a distribution center, then another job in retail, then food service. Nothing steady, just enough to survive. Years went by like that. I watched Erin graduate high school with glowing praise from my parents. They threw a party, rented a hall, had all the relatives over. Speeches, gifts, banners. She was going places, they said. She'd applied to some top-tier schools. To my shock, she even applied to Stanford. I remember sitting in the back room during her party, nursing a beer and trying not to be bitter. When she told everyone she'd gotten in, the room erupted in applause. My mom cried. My dad beamed with pride. Someone said, "Looks like the right kid got in this time." I pretended I didn't hear that. Erin smiled at me across the room and said, "You're happy for me, right?" I nodded. What else was I supposed to do? Looking back, there were warning signs, things I buried at the time because I didn't want to believe them. Like how my mom suddenly became extremely involved in Erin's college applications, even though she never once helped with mine. Or how Erin's Stanford acceptance essay sounded oddly familiar. I didn't read the whole thing, but she read a few paragraphs out loud at dinner one night, and I felt a strange déjà vu. I chalked it up to coincidence or family resemblance in writing styles. Or how my dad casually mentioned during a barbecue that Stanford doesn't want anxious kids who'd crash under pressure while glancing at me. It stung, but I assumed he was just being an ass. There was one night, about a year after Erin started college, when I overheard my parents talking in the kitchen. I was grabbing water when I heard my mom say, "It worked out for the best. He wouldn't have lasted a semester anyway." My dad said, "She's actually got a future." He was always soft. I froze. I didn't confront them. I went back to my room and lay awake all night. I told myself they were just venting. that they didn't mean it. But deep down, something started to rot inside me. Life kept crawling forward. Erin graduated with honors, got a job in tech, bought a condo. My parents bragged about her constantly. Every Christmas, every phone call, every family get-together was a shrine to Erin's success. I stopped going to most family events. I stopped calling. My parents barely noticed. If they did, they didn't care. Meanwhile, I was still stuck. Still in the same town, working the same dead-end job, feeling like a ghost. Like I died at 17 and was just watching someone else live the life that should have been mine. I didn't know how to put it into words, even to myself. It wasn't just jealousy. It was something deeper. Like I'd been robbed but couldn't prove it. Like I'd been erased from my own story. And then, 2 months ago, I found something that shattered everything. Something that proved I wasn't crazy. That they'd take everything from me. The day I found out the truth started like any other. Numb, routine, forgettable. If you've ever worked night shifts in a warehouse, you'll know what I mean. You sleep during the day, eat junk, shower if you remember, and grind through 8 hours of moving boxes and pretending it's all going somewhere. I'd gotten used to the idea that this was just it for me. My life, frozen in mediocrity. Until I got a message from someone I hadn't heard from in over a decade. Her name was Ms. Weller. She was my old high school guidance counselor. She messaged me on Facebook of all places. I barely check it anymore, but the notification happened to pop up while I was killing time at work. Hi, Name. I hope you're doing well. I'm reaching out because I came across something while cleaning out old files and thought you should have it. Let me know where I can send it. I replied, assuming it was something like an old transcript or yearbook photo. She responded right away. It's your Stanford acceptance letter. The original one. I'm guessing your family already gave you a copy, but just in case, I always kept a backup for strong applicants. I stared at my phone like it had grown teeth. Acceptance letter? At first, I genuinely thought it was a mistake. I even laughed. I messaged back. Sorry, I think you must be confusing me with someone else. I got rejected from Stanford. She sent a confused reply. No, I remember this very clearly. You were one of the strongest applicants we had that year. You got in. Full acceptance. I have the letter here with your name on it. She attached a photo. There it was. My name. My address. The Stanford letterhead. And right at the top. Congratulations. We are pleased to inform you. I dropped my phone. For a second, I genuinely felt dizzy. Like the entire floor shifted under me. I picked it up again and read the photo 5, 6, 7 times. There was no mistaking it. I'd gotten in. They lied. I couldn't finish my shift. I faked a stomach issue and left. I sat in my car in the parking lot for an hour, just staring at that picture on my phone. A decade of my life had been built on a lie. I messaged Ms. Weller again, practically begging her to send the physical copy. She overnighted it. When it arrived the next day, I nearly broke down holding it in my hands. It was real. Thick cardstock. My full name. The embossed seal. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't a failure. I had been accepted, and my parents never told me. They had intercepted the letter, opened it, and then handed me a fake rejection. I still had that rejection in a box in my closet, the one they gave me. I dug it out and compared the two side by side. The fake one didn't even have my name on it. It was generic, a badly printed template. No watermark, no signature. I never questioned it. Because why would I? Who thinks their own parents would do something like that? I didn't sleep that night. I didn't go to work the next day. I drove to my parents' house, Stanford letter in hand, hands shaking, blood pounding in my ears. My dad opened the door and looked surprised. Didn't expect to see you, he said flatly. I didn't respond. I walked straight past him into the living room. My mom was on the couch. Erin was there too. She was visiting for the weekend, apparently. All three of them turned to me. I didn't bother with small talk. I pulled the letter out of my coat and threw on the coffee table. Silence. My mom went pale. Erin stiffened. My dad just stared. Then I said the words I've been waiting to say for 10 years. I got in. I was accepted. Nobody said anything. For a moment, I wondered if they tried to deny it. Pretend it was a mistake. That they forgot. That maybe they meant to tell me, but didn't. But they didn't even pretend. My mom was the first to speak. She let out a tired sigh and said, "You wouldn't have made it. You weren't ready." I blinked. "You made that decision for me? You were already stressed. You were barely sleeping. You would have flamed out and blamed us, she said, as if that justified anything. Then Aaron of all people, added it wasn't personal. I just had a better chance. I had better extracurriculars. You were too anxious. You would have folded. My dad, meanwhile, just muttered. It made sense at the time. We couldn't afford both of you. One of you had to make it. And there it was. The truth. They stole my future and gave it to her. They had taken my acceptance, given it to Aaron, let her use my essay, my recommendations, my life. And they lied to me about it, told me I wasn't good enough, and left me to rot. I stared at them and said, "You ruined my life." My mom scoffed. "Don't be dramatic. You still could have made something of yourself." "You sabotaged me," I said, shaking. "You broke me. You let me believe I wasn't good enough for 10 years. And Aaron?" She had the audacity to say, "Well, I was good enough, and I made the most of it. You should have moved on." I left without another word. I haven't spoken to them since. After that, everything unraveled. I took a few days off work and talked to a lawyer friend. There's not much I can do legally, apparently. The statute of limitations is long gone, and there's no criminal case unless I want to try to prove mail tampering. But emotionally, I'm done. I've got no contact. I blocked all of them. Changed my number. Even started therapy because this is a lifetime's worth of betrayal to untangle. I've spent so long hating myself, believing I was the problem, that I wasn't good enough, that I was broken. But it wasn't me. It was them. They gaslit me, lied to me, stole from me, and now they're trying to act like it was for my own good. When you grow up thinking you're the failure in the family, there's a kind of poison that seeps into everything. Your relationships, your confidence, your identity. It all starts withering from the inside out. You stop believing in second chances. You stop dreaming. But when you find out it was never your fault, that everything you hated about yourself was installed in you by people who were supposed to love you, that changes something. Or at least, it did for me. The day after I confronted my family, I woke up in my apartment and just sat there, letter in hand, sunlight coming through the blinds. Everything felt different. The air, the silence, my own skin. It wasn't just that they'd lied. It was that they'd let me suffer for a decade and never once apologized. They let me become the failure in everyone's eyes, the extended family, my teachers, even mutual friends. And they never corrected the narrative. In fact, they leaned into it, played it up. Poor Erin, succeeding in spite of her troubled brother. I think that's what made it worse. Not just the theft, but the rewrite. So I decided if they were going to rewrite my story, I'd write one of my own. I started small. I posted in a private Facebook group for alumni from my high school, people I hadn't talked to in years. I uploaded pictures of both letters, the fake rejection and the real acceptance. Then I told the story, just the facts. The reaction was explosive. Dozens of people commented, former classmates, teachers, even some parents of other students. Everyone was shocked. Some admitted they'd always wondered why I dropped off the map, why I hadn't gone to college. A few even apologized for believing the version my parents had told. Then a former teacher DM'd me privately and said, "I always suspected something was off. You were the best writer in your year. That essay you wrote? I used it as an example for years." That made me cry. It was the first time in a decade I felt seen. Not pitted, not handled. Seen. That post got reshared. And then it spread to Reddit. Not by me, but by someone else who had screenshotted it. It went viral on /r/insane parents and /r/true off my chest. Thousands of upvotes. Comments from strangers across the world telling me what my own family never did. You didn't deserve that. You were never the failure. They're monsters. You were robbed. I didn't realize how much I needed to hear that until I did. A few days after the post blew up, my sister tried to contact me. She texted, "You're ruining my life. Take it down." No apology. No explanation. Just that. My parents followed up with a joint email. It was equal parts gaslighting and threats. They said I was hurting the family and dragging up the past for attention. They said Erin's employer had seen the post, that I was endangering her professional reputation. They even threatened legal action for defamation. I laughed out loud at that one. I have the original letter. I was the accepted student. They committed fraud. not the other way around. I ignored them, blocked every number, every burner email. And then I did something that surprised even me. I contacted Stanford. I didn't expect much. I figured they'd brush me off or say it was too late to do anything. But I attached scans of both letters. Explained what happened. Said I wasn't looking for admission, just closure. I wanted to know, did they know? Was there any way my sister had used my credentials? The admissions office actually responded. They said they couldn't share details about other students for privacy reasons, but they did confirm something chilling. Our records show that your application was marked as admitted and subsequently flagged as withdrawn by applicant 2 weeks later. I never withdrew. Someone did it on my behalf. And Aaron's file, submitted the week after mine, was withdrawn. Same zip code, same essay title. They didn't outright accuse anyone, but they didn't have to. I knew, and now they knew. The woman I spoke with ended the call with, "I'm so sorry this happened to you. You were more than qualified, and you still are." That meant more than I can explain. So where does that leave me? Honestly, I don't know. I'm 28 years old now. I've spent a third of my life believing I wasn't good enough, and the rest just trying to survive. I'm not magically okay. I still wake up angry some days. I still hear my mom's voice in my head telling me I was too fragile. I still think about how different my life could have been. The friendships, the career, the confidence, the self-worth I could have had. But I'm not stuck anymore. I've enrolled in online classes. Not to go back to Stanford, but because I want to prove to myself that I can. I started writing again, the way I used to before everything got poisoned. I even submitted a personal essay to a few magazines. One of them published it. It was about betrayal and survival, and how some families don't deserve forgiveness, because forgiveness without accountability is just another favor to the people who hurt you. People ask me if I'll ever reconcile with my parents or my sister. Here's my answer. No, you don't reconcile with people who step on you to boost themselves, then lie to your face for 10 years, then only reach out when they're worried about their reputation. You don't owe abusers peace. You owe yourself freedom. And for the first time in my life, I have it. If you're reading this and your family has ever made you feel like you're worthless, if you've been cast as the scapegoat, the failure, the disappointment, let me be the proof that it might not be you. Sometimes, the people closest to you are the ones who build the cage. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is walk away and let it all burn behind you. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Thanks.